I'm so excited today to be joined by Ryan Powers. Ryan, you are not a household name yet. Could you give folks a bit of an introduction to yourself and just give them an understanding of why we're even talking today?
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, my name is Ryan. I grew up in Philadelphia and I was recently fired from a big law firm, and I am happy to go into details surrounding that.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that. So what law firm were you working at and why were you fired?
So, I was working at a law firm called Davis Polk, which is one of the most powerful, prestigious law firms in the world, and I was fired. I can't say for sure because I was never given a direct reason, but I do think that there are certain facts that suggest maybe a possible reason.
What is that?
Maybe speaking out against things that I shouldn't have been, like Trump and Palantir.
Well, I guess I wanna dive a little bit further into that. When did you graduate law school?
About 2 years ago,
And when did you start at Davis Polk?
also about 2 years ago.
When you started at Davis Bulk, were you under the understanding that you could not speak out, that you could not kind of have your own thoughts and opinions when it came to this administration, Palantir, or anything else?
No, I was not aware of that.
And what happened as you kind of progressed in your career at Davis Polk that led to your termination today, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and tell my story if it helps fill in some blanks.
Yeah.
In March, when the Trump administration was revoking security clearances, targeting independent bar associations, and going after big law firms by name, the profession to me seemed like it was under attack. I started writing shortly thereafter. I was publishing articles on things like the a new bill that happened in Montana that was just signed, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, an upcoming Senate primary in Texas, and then I wrote an article about Palantir and security, and that came out in mid-May. And like all of the rest of my articles, the goal was really just to educate people about the law. So explain to them what was happening, what was at risk, help people know, especially non-lawyers, how to protect their fundamental constitutional rights. About 2 weeks later, the New York Times broke the story that Palantir and the Trump administration had been working together for quite some time. It wasn't totally out of left field because ICE has a relationship with Palantir. It's fairly well documented, but it is something that hadn't been openly discussed. A couple days later, I had a colleague notify me that the firm was aware of these articles and they were unhappy. So I had a meeting with the firm. The firm policy was read to me. It appeared as though the main problem was me just speaking out without really consulting with the firm. So I tested
I'm going
that.
to stop you right there quickly. What
Yeah.
was that firm policy that was read to you by folks at the firm? And who, give some more context into this meeting. Who was there? Was it just kind of HR? Were there senior partners? What was it like during that meeting?
Yeah, so it was my direct supervisor, and it was only supposed to be us on the calendar invitation, but they also invited the head of professional development, who is functionally HR.
Okay.
And the policy itself basically gives the firm wide lateral to restrict speech or control speech that is spoken publicly, that is written about on any topic of their choosing.
And so what happened next? You were approached, you had this meeting, they told you about this policy. How did that ended up leading to your firing?
Yeah, so to be clear, I knew that there was a publishing policy, but what exactly violated it, I was unsure of. So we
Hmm.
ended up having this conversation, and I got no answers in the meeting. I got nothing about why the policy was violated, why what I had written about was somehow objectionable to the firm, particularly because I wasn't taking partisan positions, and I got nothing. So I ended up writing another article the very next day about threats to free speech and the First Amendment in Philadelphia in possible conjunction with the Trump administration. And I sent it to my firm directly. I sent it to the two people I had the meeting with the day prior, and I CC'd the head of the law firm. I explained that the article was my own thoughts. The firm now had first opportunity to review it if that was the problem. I explained that it concerned urgent matters of people's fundamental constitutional rights, and I wanted a reason in writing if I couldn't approve it, couldn't run it, because the firm had been very reticent about giving me anything in writing when I had asked previously about firm policy. Instead of any answer, I got a knock on my door about 4 hours after the article was sent to them, and it was two people I didn't recognize. They walked me down the hallway, sat me down, terminated me effective immediately. We walked back to my office, gave me about 2 or 3 minutes to pack out my stuff, and then two security guards walked me out of the building.
Well, I guess my question here is knowing the firm policy and having that first kind of conversation with them after that Palantir article, why, I mean, why did you choose to write that next article? I mean, was it, I mean, you knew that your job was possibly on the line here, right? So why write it?
Because the policy is morally weak and poorly justified. It is absurd, particularly as it pertains to law, and especially now in this moment in history that we're living in. Rules are not a guide for morality. Don't ask, don't tell, Japanese internment camps during World War II, women's suffrage, the list goes on. So, when my firm wanted control over my voice, without exception, I refused to give it to them. Because the enforcement of said policy I believe compromises the integrity of the institution and every attorney in it. So I think you just hit a point where you're like, it's wrong. It's not right. There's not a good justification that doesn't lead back to protecting money and power.
My question is, do you feel that you are entitled to a job at Davis Polk, even if you want to speak out? I mean, is Davis Polk, being that it is a law firm, it's a private company, are they fully within their right to hire and fire whoever they choose for whatever reason?
Absolutely. And that's why there's no lawsuit coming from this. But I do think it's important to speak out and to speak out now and loudly, or else this will keep happening and get worse. And in an industry where we have so much power and we have so much control to do something and we choose not to, I want to show people that, yeah, actually individuals can do something.
What's your plan next? I mean, you spoke out, you're doing this interview and presumably others, and you're making your story heard, and I hope that people read it and watch it. But what's next for you? I mean, what's the goal here? Is it to continue this activism route? Is it to get back to a law firm eventually? Are you practicing law right now? What does your life look like?
Yeah, it's a great question, Aaron, and I don't have a great answer to it. Um, I want to keep talking about this though, because I think it's important. Like it's not a game. I lost my health insurance, I lost my salary, I'm currently unemployed. The stakes are real, but it's been worth it to me because we cannot afford to take democracy for granted. We only have institutions insofar as we work to preserve them. And if you don't believe me, look at the Weimar Republic, Chile in the 1970s, France, 1940s. Other industries, other countries are watching this unique moment in American history right now, and it is so easy to feel powerless in the face of these institutions. But you aren't, you never are, and you never were.
I gotta ask you a question. While you were at Davis Polk, when a lot would say they capitulated to the Trump administration with that deal earlier this year to kind of avoid um, ideally persecution with by the administration. Did you ever feel while you were an attorney there that they were moving further to the right intentionally to appease the administration outside of your example?
I think it's hard to say. I was a member of the various affinity groups within the firm, and it was clear to me that all of the efforts that we had planned, that we had done year over year to celebrate attorneys from different backgrounds across the city, were suddenly very firm specific. We had certain notices and meetings that went out that were indicating that we were just a little bit less loud in our identities than we were perhaps the year prior.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining me. I hope people read your story. I hope people watch this. And I'm personally just excited to see what's next for you. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks very much, Aaron. I appreciate it.